This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 1998, How Having a Baby Changed My Financial Goals, by Logan Allec with marriagekidsandmoney.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. For now, let's get right to it and continue optimizing your life. How Having a Baby Changed My Financial Goals, by Logan Allec with marriagekidsandmoney.com. There's no question that having a baby changed my life. I just wasn't quite prepared for the impact it would have on my finances. I was definitely prepared for all the expenses of having a newborn. However, I also found myself adjusting my long-term financial goals in a way I hadn't expected. If you're a new parent or about to become one, you might find yourself thinking about new financial goals that probably weren't on your mind before. You might also realize you have a different mindset when it comes to money. Everyone's experience is different, but here's how the birth of my son changed my own financial goals. New long-term outlook. Before my wife and I had our baby, our goals were to save and invest and perhaps even to be able to retire early. After all, if we could quit 5 or 10 years before the median retirement age of 62, we'd have more time to see the world. However, after we had the baby, we started thinking less about retirement and more about our child's financial future. Simply raising a child until the age of 18 is extremely expensive, and we want to save even more money for further financial benefits like college and inheritance. We've seen so many of our peers dealing with more debt and less income than their parents. A lot of them are relying on their families for financial support. We want the very best for our child and don't want a situation like that to happen. We care more about him having financial independence than our own potential early retirement. Focusing on time over money. It's easy to get wrapped up in money when you're single or in a relationship without children. But I was fine with losing some money to gain more time once I had a child. Money is still important, of course, but spending time with my family is now my top priority. Without a child, many people focus on making more money so that they can spend, save, and reach their financial goals. On the other hand, those goals will start to take a back seat to your family once you're responsible for a new baby. Money itself doesn't have the same attraction. I know I need it to support my family, but I'm no longer interested in it for its own sake. Relaxing my savings goals. Just as I'd rather spend time with my child than at work, I'd rather spend the money I earn on items for my family rather than save a certain percentage every month. I'll always save whatever I can, but I'm no longer worried about hitting a specific savings target at the end of each month, and I've relaxed my budget significantly since my child was born. Raising a child is incredibly rewarding, and I want to do everything I can to help him thrive and succeed. Whether or not those expenses are within my ideal budget is less of a priority than it was before he was born. I've also come to realize that raising children also involves a variety of unpredictable expenses that make it more difficult to plan your finances in advance. So it's still important to keep an emergency fund just in case. Starting a Roth IRA. I stopped thinking so much about my own retirement goals once my child was born, but I started thinking more about his. You don't need to worry about a new baby's retirement fund for a while, but you can get their financial life off to a great start by helping them create a Roth IRA as soon as possible. While Roth IRA contributions aren't tax deductible, they continue to grow tax-free and can be taken out without taxes or penalties once the account holder reaches the age of 59 and a half. The earlier your child starts to make contributions, the easier it will be for them to reach their retirement savings goals later on. For example, if you pay your kids $50 a week to help out with your family business after school, that would add up to $2,600 each year. Since you're covering all of their expenses, they can put that money directly into a retirement account to start generating returns. Even seemingly small contributions can have a significant impact on the account's lifetime value. In addition to the obvious benefit of growing their Roth IRA, you'll also have the opportunity to help your child learn more about retirement and start making long-term financial decisions. Financial literacy is a serious issue for younger people, so teaching your child about personal finance is one of the most effective ways to help them succeed. Saving for college. You can also aid your child's financial future by contributing to a college savings plan, such as a 529 account. These state-sponsored savings accounts can let you save for your child's future education while taking advantage of tax benefits. Some 529s are prepaid tuition plans, which means you pay for your college credits in the future at today's prices. The hope is that the cost of tuition will continue to rise, saving you a good chunk of money when your kids head off to college. Although the contributions you make to a 529 account aren't tax deductible, the earnings will grow without being taxed by the federal government, nor will you pay federal taxes when you withdraw the money from the account to pay for college, room and board, textbooks, and other approved expenses. Note that you may have to pay state income taxes on these accounts. This varies by state. The bottom line: I knew that having a baby would completely alter my life, but I didn't anticipate all the ways in which my financial priorities would shift. These are just a few of the most important things I've noticed in my approach to money. Keep in mind that the experience of parenting is different for everyone. The important thing is to be open to change and accept that your financial and personal priorities will inevitably shift after having a baby. You just listened to the post titled "How Having a Baby Changed My Financial Goals" by Logan Allec with marriagekidsandmoney.com. While I've been blessed with no children, I can certainly appreciate how financial goals would shift after having a child. I meet a ton of people in the FIRE community that often discuss this question of saving for college for their children. I find that there are two camps: parents who feel that it's their responsibility to pay for college, and parents who have no intention to pay for it. I personally feel that I benefited from paying my own way when it came to school. Now take this with a grain of salt because I got a full academic scholarship and took out loans for living expenses. But I do have a sense of pride in figuring it out for myself. And I always thought that if I did have kids, I would want them to have a similar experience. I remember being annoyed in school by the kids who didn't value their parents covering the cost of their education. Perhaps if they had to cover it themselves, they wouldn't change majors 5 times, or they would put that degree to work in a higher paying field versus staying at their restaurant job. I know I'm oversimplifying, and as someone who graduated college in 2009, I recognize how hard it is to get an entry-level position in a tough economy. It can be argued that the cost of higher education these days makes it impossible for young people to pay their own way. But perhaps if they had to pay for it, they'd be forced to consider the return on investment of that education. Look, if you do decide that it's important to you to pay for your child's education, I would just encourage you to first make sure that you're set on your own financial goals. If paying for college is going to risk your own retirement or put you further into debt, perhaps it needs to be considered further. Your child can take out a loan for school. You, however, cannot take out a loan for your retirement. It's great to help your offspring get a good start to their adult life, but who's to say they'll be in a financial position to help you when you're in your elder years? And that should do it for today. Have a happy rest of your day, and I'll see you on the Thursday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.